And welcome to Empower Together today. I'm your host, Desiree Parker, and I'm so excited to have my friend Tiffany Lanza on today. Tiffany is the CEO and main photographer for Lanza Manage Photography. She is a super creative person who loves to help people see their full potential, whether that's business or personal potential. She founded her photography business in 2014 and just kind of slowly realized her passion was not just to create beautiful works of art, but to help the people in front of the camera, help the people in front of the camera see themselves as beautiful. And so her passion has just grown over these last almost 10 years that you've been in business now. And help them build their brands as far as business goes and their self-esteem with all of your photography. So welcome, Tiffany. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So I met you a couple of years ago, and I have done a couple of photography shoots with Tiffany. She does, as you can see a little bit from her photography behind her, she does amazing boudoir photography that I never thought I would do. But that was my first photo shoot with her. And it was such an awesome experience. And then I have done headshot for like business headshots with her. And so she is amazing at that as well. So Tiffany, just what got you excited about photography? You know, back in 2014 when you started the business, I assume you'd already been doing some kind of photography, maybe as a hobby or something. No,
Nope.
not at all.
Nope. I am a firm believer you can do anything you want to do. So,
Yes.
and I've found that with myself throughout years and years of things, that if I decide I want to do something, I can do it. Like there's nothing to stop me.
Yeah.
So I
Can
was
learn
working
anything.
exactly. I was working for a land developer at the time, and I had just left. I was working for a builder, and then I left and got a job with a land developer.
Okay.
And when I worked for a builder, I was so busy. I was always working. I mean, I remember there's one night I worked till like 1 o'clock in the morning trying to get people to
Yeah.
sign. And so it was like I was like never home, and my husband was complaining, and my kids were missing me, and all the
Yeah.
things. And so when I got the like 9 to 5 job, I was like really excited. But then I realized I was like, no, I just like moved my hour times. I'm still gone the
Hmm.
same amount of time. I just moved the time frame to be
Shifted the,
in a
yeah.
respected time frame. And so I I realized at that point I was like, I need to do something for me. I want to start a business. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur since I
Hmm.
mean, I tried to start a nonprofit when I was 18. I've probably tried to start like 800 businesses in my life. I'm like, just because I've always wanted to work for myself. And I was raised by a dad who ran companies. So I always said,
Hmm.
someday I'm going to
Same.
be really important in a company or I'm going to work for myself. Like I was like, it's never even been a question.
Yeah.
So I picked up a camera. I bought it, and I bought like the cheap kit camera that you buy when
Yep.
you're going to take pictures of your kids. And I started taking pictures of my kids. That's where it started. Oh, they were horrible. They
I
were.
can
I was
hardly believe that.
so proud of my horribleness. Now I'm
That's
like,
so funny.
no wonder why some people like totally turned me down, like completely wholeheartedly when I cost like hardly anything. But it's a journey, so
Yes.
you gotta suck to get somewhere.
Yep.
So I started doing that, playing around with my camera. And I remember telling one of my coworkers that I would never do boudoir, that I love the
That's so
genre,
funny.
but I would never do it. And the reason why is because I said, I don't understand what it feels like to be sexy. So, how can I teach somebody and show them that they are if I don't understand that myself? It's funny when you
Hmm.
say things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
I've learned that a long time ago. Never say you won't do something because that is the exact same thing you will end up doing. I've, I,
exactly,
I've, I've experienced that so many times.
wholeheartedly. So, I ended up so I wanted a pair of angel wings.
Love
Literally,
those.
I wanted them. I had no
Hmm.
idea why I wanted them. I just knew I wanted them. And they were like, I think when she first started making those, I want to say they were like $1,300.
Oh,
And so I
wow.
was like, that's a lot of money to put towards something I don't even
Hmm.
know what I would do with, right? And I
Yeah.
didn't have $1,300 to throw at it. 3 kids,
Yeah.
surviving life.
Yes.
Um, so I was like, okay. I'm going to throw a shootout. So me and the makeup artist I worked with at the time went down to Kima. We used this, it's an old Airbnb. It's not one anymore. Not Airbnb.
Hmm.
The things where you rent a room. It's like a hotel, but not a hotel.
Like bed and
Uh,
breakfast kind of thing, or
yeah, kind of like a bed and breakfast, but it was
okay.
styled like 1920s. Like it was the
Ooh,
whole thing. And
very
so I
cool.
was like, I'm gonna throw a shootout. We'll get models and we'll do this. And so we did. We did. I think I shot like 8 pictures because I was so busy. You can't like shoot a shootout you're throwing. It's not possible.
Hmm.
So, but I remember there were 2 models there who were plus size and 2 models there who were like the standard, skinny
Model
type.
bottle.
But I made sure that what I did was I got different skin tones, different textures of hair, I mean, everything was different about all 4 women. Four, five,
Hmm.
5 women. Five,
Okay.
four. I don't remember. It's been a while. Um, and I fell in love with both of the women who were plus size models. I've always been skinny, but
Hmm.
the way that they held themselves, I've never felt that way about myself. Like I had never looked in the mirror and just like felt, I don't know how to put it because there's not really words to put into what you saw, which
Yeah.
is just grace and beauty and confidence and all these things
Hmm.
that people probably expected me to feel, but I didn't feel.
Yeah.
And I remember that day I was like, I'm going to learn this. And then I'm going to figure out how to help people feel this way. Like that was how I felt that day. Like I was like, this
Yeah.
is something I'm going to figure out. So yeah, then I started that journey. I sucked in the beginning. Oh, I remember there's one girl, she looked at me and she was like, I don't like any of this. And I was like, I didn't know
What
what
do
I
I
was
do?
doing. Right. It was like my
Yeah.
second mini that I ever did that was, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was so funny. But now I look
Yeah.
back and I think, well, there was a beauty in that because I still showed women because there was one woman out of like 5 that I had
Yeah.
done in the very beginning. And I still showed the other ones because like I'm friends with one of them and she goes, I can't wait to do another one. And I'm like, oh,
No.
I don't cost that anymore.
Yeah. Now you're paying for the
Yeah,
years of experience that I have put
yeah.
into this, because your quality is amazing now.
Thank you. Well, when my business changed was when I stopped looking at my business like a business. It was when I
Hmm.
started looking at my business as individual women that I'm hanging out with and helping versus because when you get in a business you get stuck on bottom lines and you get stuck on money and you
Yeah.
get stuck on all of these things, and I had to like step back and like change my mindset on what my
Hmm.
business represented and what my goals were. So instead
Hmm.
of doing, I mean, everyone has monetary goals. I have
Of
blank, I
course.
call them basic blank monetary goals. So my goal is to
Hmm.
make X amount of money this year. But I used to be like, okay, that meant I made this amount this month and this amount this month. And that meant this many women booked me and this many. So I've
Yeah.
changed it to, instead of saying this is my monetary goal, I say this is the amount of women I hope that come through my studio and grow as women. And I count the women, not the money. And then
Okay.
it flows.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
That's awesome. I love that. So you definitely, like I said, I'm glad I met you when I met you then, because I think we did my shoot in like 21 or 22.
Hmm.
And the pictures were amazing. Like I said, it's something I never thought I would do. I've always struggled to see myself as sexy also. I mean, I've struggled with my weight my whole life. I grew up with, lazy eye and like bifocals and all this stuff, I mean, so, it was not something I saw myself really ever doing. But I came in and, you had your stylist and we did the hair and we did the makeup and I wore the wings. The wings are amazing. Like
Hmm.
they're just fun to have no matter what. Like, I mean, there's no practical use for them whatsoever unless you're using them as a prop.
Yep.
So you do have a very practical use for them now. But and the picture just turned out amazing. Like I know I cried during the session.
Hmm. It's
While I
normal.
was
So
when
normal.
we were doing them, just because I was like, it was such an empowering feeling, to be to look in a look away that I never saw myself, and I know that's something that the women that you work with feel when they, when they take those pictures, because you can see it in the pictures.
That's what people tell me all the time. I think I'm so behind the camera and I get so stuck on the people that I just see them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I tell when I describe what I do to people is even in branding, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
headshots, it doesn't even matter what it is. High school seniors, same thing, is I
Yeah.
teach people what they actually look like versus the version that we like to put in our head of what we think we look like. Because what we
Mm-hmm.
actually look like is always 10,000 times better than what we think we look like. And so what
Yeah.
you feel, you see. So if you don't feel good about yourself, or you're not feeling good, or you feel like you have too much weight on, because it's the feeling,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the reality, it's the feeling. You see it. My
Yeah.
favorite one is when women get their period, they'll freak out because most women end up on their period like right before the shoot because they're nervous. And so
Yes.
I'll tell them, I say, okay, if you get your period, immediately start telling yourself this is going to be the lightest period ever. Just start saying it to yourself, even if your brain says, no, it's not. Just keep saying it, keep saying it. And then they always come and they're like, oh my God, I don't have cramps. I'm like, it's magic because you always expect to have cramps. So you
Mm-hmm.
get them, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
it's, it's a powerful thing to think that your mind controls everything and your mindset
Yes.
controls everything. And so
Yeah.
if you say today I just don't feel like today's a good day, it's probably not going to be a good day. If you say
Yeah.
today's going to be awesome, that butterfly is going to fly right in front of your face and you're going to stop and you're going to be like, butterfly just flew in front of my face, and you're going to enjoy the
Yeah.
moment, it's
Yeah. That's very true. I mean, our brain, it controls every part of our body, and um, it can, if we change our mindset, it can have a huge impact on the way we feel and the way we see ourselves, and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it's interesting, especially as women, that how we think we see ourselves, how we feel about ourselves is so different than how we actually look. Because I think that's so true, because we look in a mirror and then we get a picture taken of ourselves and we're like, well, that
well,
picture doesn't look anything like me, or that,
there's a
we
side
always are
to
never
that though.
happy with that. Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole, so my brand is very psychologically based. Everything I do is psychologically planned. I don't know the word. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
something that I went to school for. It's just the
Yeah.
way the mind works.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go get a picture taken, and not you, but 90% of women,
Anybody.
most
Mm-hmm.
women don't stand in front of a camera and go, oh my God, I feel so good about myself right now.
Yes.
This, I'm going to have such a good picture. This is a
Yeah.
great, I can't wait to see this photo. No, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
Most women are like, do I have to do this? Can you hide me?
Yes.
Okay, can you make me skinnier somehow? I'm not photogenic. Photos don't like me. That's my favorite one. I'm
Yeah.
like, the photo
Yeah.
has no opinion of you. Um, People that be like, photos don't like me. The photo does not care about you
Yeah.
itself. It is an object. um,
Yes.
but what's happening is in your head as a woman, you're thinking a negative thought. And if you
Mm-hmm.
think about your family, you think about your kids, you think about your spouse, we all read everybody around us. We all get vibes from people, however you want to call it, we all read them. And
Mm-hmm.
so you read yourself. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, you're reading the negative thoughts you were thinking in that photo. So even if your body is not in the best position, but your head is like, oh my God, this is going to be the best photo ever, just the difference of that will change how you look at that photo. And when you think about your body, when you overly think about it in a photo, you do weird things with it. So don't think about your body.
That's really good insight, because you're right. Um, Even just taking pictures with friends or family or anything like that, having a picture taken, I immediately am worried about how I'm positioned, whether I'm sucking in my stomach, whether my arm looks fat, whether like whether it's my best side, all of that kind of stuff. And it's so weird, and it's so I don't know. It's just, it feels so vain and like
Vain, it's actually
unnecessary.
comparing yourself to somebody else. It's
Yeah.
actually not you thinking about yourself. It's you picturing that friend of yours that you always thinks looks good in all the photos, and you
Mm-hmm.
going, I'm not going to look like her. God, I'm going to look like crap. Like that's what your brain is saying to itself.
Hmm.
It's not even picking you apart. It's bringing in like a different color of something that isn't even the color that you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
It's adding a cell to the petri dish that isn't even there, and then all the cells are comparing themselves to that cell.
yeah,
It takes it. They actually said with all the social media we have now, you would think because of all the social media and all the things, like celebrities are still a really big part of our insecurities, and they're not
yeah,
anymore. It's Susan down the street who
yes.
pretends to have this perfect life, and she does all the things that we wish we could afford to do, or she
Hmm.
portrays she does all the things that we wish we could afford to do. She
Hmm.
is actually the bigger problem than Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. No, I totally get that because I've never been somebody who cares about celebrities,
Hmm.
um, but um, but yeah, you're right. You see um, people on your social media feed, or if you're like me, that are just friends and stuff like that. But um, there are people that are far younger than me, getting Botox or the mommy makeovers and all of these things, and I don't fault them for that or anything like that. But it's like, oh, these people look a lot better than I do.
But 90% of those people are using filters. So you don't know what
Yeah,
they look like. And that's where this scary thing. Um it was a post I saw the other day, and it was a plastic surgeon's office. And it came
hmm,
across my feed, and it was this woman who had all the things we get when we age. The saggy here, the little
yeah,
saggy here, her eye drops.
lines up
Yeah.
there.
Now I do my lines. I'm not gonna lie, because yes, I do my forehead, but for me, it's a maintenance thing for aging. It doesn't change my landscape. I don't change the shape of
Yeah,
my face. I'm not changing
yeah,
anything. But they gave an after photo. And at first you were like, oh my God, what this woman got done made her look fabulous. But as a photographer, I sat there and I looked at the photo for a minute. I was like, this is completely filtered.
hmm,
It's not even physically possible to have not that amount of wrinkles on your face.
yeah,
Even if you have the best skin and you're 20 years old and it's the best skin ever, you have certain areas that wrinkle. It's just
yeah,
plausible. So
yeah,
it's created a sense of you can never meet that. She can never meet that. She just paid probably like $25,000, and she'll never meet that, which
yeah.
is okay in one sense. So I'm not against filtering. I'm against it when you
No,
think you look like that.
yeah. I mean, because I have filtered pictures. Don't get me wrong.
I have filtered pictures. I
I
can
don't.
touch photos, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I try not to filter them to the point where they no longer look like me.
Hmm.
Um,
That's where that becomes a
yeah.
problem, is when you stop
Uh,
looking at yourself in the photo and you create another person.
yeah. But yeah, so I don't begrudge anybody their filters.
No,
Or their
I don't
plastic
either.
surgery, quite honestly, or cosmetic procedures or anything like that. I'd like that's everybody. I think you need to do what makes you feel good about yourself, and if that's something that does, but but if it's something like that you can't afford or that you wish you could do and you can't, or something like that, it does lead to a lot of like, oh,
Well, my only problem, I don't have, like, I'm going to get some stuff done to myself. So it's not a
mhm,
judgment on the doing. It's
mhm,
I'm not creating a false expectation of what I look like.
yeah,
And that's where that line crosses, where it scares me, because I
mhm,
see it. Because what happens is you'll never be able to look in the mirror if you build that image of what you think you look like and it's not what you look like. So then the
yeah,
mirror becomes hard, and looking in your own eyes becomes hard, because then you're being hard on yourself. It's and once you've done a lot of things to fix it, it's harder than it is somebody who hasn't done
yeah,
anything to fix it. Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes the people with the best bodies in the world are 20,000 times harder on themselves than women who have just said, fuck it, I
yeah,
just want to feel good. And so it's
yeah,
one of the things that's an interesting thing. And I'm for all the things. I'm telling you, all the things. If you want to do it, do it. I'm all for it. As long as you don't come
yeah,
out looking like a whole different person. But
yeah,
it's how you view yourself. I have forehead wrinkles really bad naturally, so I get my forehead done.
yeah, me too.
Because for me, it makes me feel like I'm preventing aging.
Hmm.
but that doesn't change my face. Like
Yeah.
I haven't created a new face shape. I haven't taken things out and added things in, and making your lips bigger, keeping the puffiness so it's not as puffy anymore. None of that's a big deal. Even adding the filler in your cheeks that, where it's not a ridiculous amount. It's none of that's a big deal. But it's just when you
Hmm.
create a new version. And that's why I'm very careful with my photography. I
Yeah.
reach you, I turn you into the version you would be if you filtered it lightly where your skin is beautifully smooth, you know,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
version that, I don't create new face shape, I don't
Yeah.
create new body shape.
Yeah.
If you're a plus size woman, you're not coming out a size 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like it's
Yeah.
all of those things. If you're flat chested, you're not coming out with boobs that didn't exist from nowhere, you know?
Yeah.
Well, people ask me these things all the time.
Yeah.
Even sometimes in business clothes, like business shots, like they'll be like, "I want this," and I'm like, "No,
Mm, yeah.
no, mm-mm,
Yeah.
no."
And that's one of those things, I guess, I don't know, for me, and I've always been like this. I'm like, I don't want to show up and like people think like, wait,
Who
that's
is
not
that?
you. Like who is yeah, like that's not the person I saw.
I did that once. I actually had that happen to me once. I won't say who, I won't say what industry,
Yeah.
but I showed up to this meeting after seeing their website. And I will say I was possibly thinking about working with these people. Okay. And the
Hmm.
woman who owns it showed up.
Yeah.
When she walked over to the table, I almost straight up told her, "I'm sorry, you must have the wrong table."
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like 6
Yeah.
dress sizes and just
Yeah.
not the same person. And I was
Yeah.
like, the whole time we were meeting, I sat there thinking, I can't get over who you are right now. So like my brain isn't even here.
Yeah. I had somebody with recently. I was at a networking meeting, and I got a business card from somebody who his picture was on his business card, and so and on his website and stuff like that. But the person in front of me handing it to me, this picture was 30 years old. It
Mhm.
had to be. And I met him in person, so obviously I
Yeah.
knew it was the same person. But if I was going off a website or something like that, it'd be like, wait a minute.
Who are you?
Um, yeah, you have to update these things. And so that, you look like, and that's why, like when I did headshots with you just in the last year, I don't look like I did 5 years ago.
Mm.
You know, it's not, you have to update them, you know, every,
Yeah.
honestly, every couple of years, really, as you start getting older, so that it matches what people see.
Yes.
I don't want people looking at my podcast like right now, and they being like,
That's not.
who are you? Because you're not the person on the website, you're not the person on the profile, you're not the person I see on LinkedIn. um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's a really important to um, I support women doing what they need to help themselves feel better, but at the same time, I mean, I've got makeup on right now and all that stuff,
Mhm.
but as long as it's not hurting you,
Yeah.
and not like damaging your health.
Yes.
Um,
Mentally, physically, or spiritually, as long as it's not hurting you in one of
yeah,
those ways.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Um, so yeah, so what else do you have like upcoming? Like, what are some of your goals that you want to do with your photography? I know you recently, not recently, but in the last couple of years, moved into a new studio because when we did my first shoot, you were operating out of your house still. So it was super exciting when I did the business shoot to go to you had like a studio, which is,
Mhm.
I know, such a big upgrade. I
It is.
mean,
It's nice.
such a big upgrade.
It's nice. It's nice too because like not everybody likes dogs, and I have dogs, and now with my
I
dad
love
moving in, I
dogs.
have 4. So there was a level of them I miss, and there's a level of them I'm glad is not in the mix anymore.
Yeah.
But like I'm out of my personal space. I really believe in energy transfers, and I really believe in, like you leave a piece of yourself everywhere you go and everyone you talk to. And
Hmm.
so like there's a piece of my home now that's just safe, like
Yeah. Yes.
it's not it's not a piece of that. I mean, and I'm very lucky. I say this. I've had very good clients all these years. So all the
Hmm.
people coming into my home have been, I mean, maybe I can think of 4 times in the past 10 years where I'm like, I had to go cleanse my house because, somebody came through. But when you think of 10 years and 4 times, that's pretty good, I would say. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah. So, I mean, think about how many people just in normal that you meet that you're like, no,
I don't think I want them in my house. Yeah.
we're not compatible in that way. So I would say
Yes.
I've done pretty good. And I feel like the reason why is because I talk to every single person that I shoot with and I tell them all about me while I'm doing
Hmm.
it, because if I'm not your cup of tea, then it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. I love having the studio though. And I use it as a getaway sometimes. I have 3 kids
Yeah.
and 3 dogs and a husband and a father that all live in my house. All of them.
That's a lot of people.
We
That's a
we
lot of
went.
people.
I had to fill out the thing for my kids this year, and it was like, "How many people live in your house?" And I was like, 6.
Yeah.
That doesn't count the 4 dogs.
Yeah. You're like, how many living beings live in my house? Like
Mhm.
10.
Yeah, like I mean, we're probably over capacity. Somebody would come in here and be like, "What is wrong with you?"
But I get it. I mean, as somebody who's an introvert, home is my sanctuary. And I do work out of my house, but it's not something where I invite clients into my
Yeah,
house,
yeah,
so it's very different. Um, I would struggle to have people coming in and out of my house, mainly because it's a wreck.
Well, I will tell you, I kept my house a hell of a lot cleaner when people were coming in and out because I,
I
I
know.
I kept those maids coming. I've had the same maid company for 13 years.
Me too. I've had the same lady forever. Like she's watched my kids grow up. Like, when my daughter's home from college, she's like, "Oh, you used to be so little." And I'm like, "Yep."
Mhm.
Yep. And her husband mows my lawn. So,
Well, that's what we've had the same. Like I was saying, we've had the same pest control company since we moved in
mhm.
the house for 13 years. The same gardeners for 13 years,
Yep.
and I kind of laugh because I'm like, I really keep people. I do. I
Yeah.
keep people. I'm a people
Yeah.
keeper. Like I
Yeah.
just do. Like even friends. Like even if I don't pop up all the time, like I'll randomly pop up. You know,
Yes.
it's like I'm a people keeper for sure. Whatever the definition of that would be, I do it.
Yes. There you go. You stick around. You're a stick
Yeah,
arounder.
I am. Unless you don't
I
want me to,
totally get
then I
that.
go away.
But why wouldn't they want you to?
Oh, every once in a
You're
while,
such a
you
fun
get that
person.
one. I know, but you get that one. I have the personality though that you either love me or I'm not your cup of tea at all. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm intense, especially
Yeah.
business wise. So, like, as a business person in my life, like, I'm very focused on it and my
Hmm.
kids. And well, I say you pick two. So I told my husband the other day, I said, it really flips between you and the kids. It just goes back and forth between you two.
That's
Like,
the stage of life you're in, though.
my
Yeah. I
second
mean,
focus, it goes between them. But
yeah.
my other, like, two main focuses, right? One is business and one is
Hmm.
the four of them, you know?
Yes. Family.
Um, and you can't have the four of them at the same time. So it becomes a little
No.
interesting. But
Yes. I understand.
but you have to have those things you focus on, and some people aren't as focused on that as I am, so it can be. I've had
Yeah.
some people tell me when they met me, they were like, I didn't know that I liked you, but then I got to know you and I really liked you, and I was like, I get it. I'm
Yeah.
intense.
I'm one of those people that they're like, when I first met you, I kind of thought you were a bitch, and I'm like, well, I kind of am, but
My problem is with that one is, don't ask me questions you don't want an answer to.
that's the thing because I'm not a bullshitter, um, and I'm not gonna go out of my way to make you comfortable, in a if it's gonna make if it's gonna go against my
Mm-hmm.
values or my purpose or something like that. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat
Oh, you're
um,
nicer than me.
things.
My problem is I'm logical. I'm
Oh,
really not
very.
emotional, which is why I'm very good with what I do. Is
Yeah.
I can take people through very emotional experiences
Hmm.
and pull out the emotion so they can logically move through it if they want to.
Yes. Yes.
But that also means if you ask me questions about people, animals, things that you love, that or people you're mad at that like
Hmm.
you're just holding a grudge because you want to, Don't ask me those questions because I'll.
Yeah, yeah. Deep down, I'm an empath, but like if I do every personality test, every disc, every Myers Briggs, all the strengths finders put me at like my relationship quadrant is always a big fat zero.
Mm-hmm.
Because I shut off my feelings as far as work goes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's not that I cannot be empathetic. I am.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in trauma for 15 years, obviously.
Yeah,
But if I don't shut those feelings down,
they'll
I
take
will take
it.
it all in. I will take it all. And it'll crush me.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep my feelings on a very
Mm-hmm.
um, tight leash,
Mm-hmm.
and keep things on a reasoning and logic and um, straightforward,
I have a question
especially
with
when
that
dealing
though.
with that. hmm
Do you feel your emotions?
I had a counselor actually tell me this one time. She's like, "You intellectualize your emotions."
Okay, I do the same thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
you feel them, you process them.
Yes. She's
Okay.
like, you. She's like, you're not good at feeling them. She's like, which you should get better at, which I still haven't really done. I'll get there eventually, maybe. I don't know. But she's like, you intellectualize your emotions.
Do you ever have those days where you like turn on music and just feel everything?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, so like me, I think of my emotions as a wheel.
hmm
And so like and it wheels all the time. So not constantly, like every few
Yeah.
months. Like it's not like a every.
Not a constant cycle. Yeah.
No,
No.
no. It's like a couple month cycle where I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, and then all of a sudden, and I won't even know I'm there.
Boom. No.
Yeah, a song will come on or somebody will say something that is talking about something completely unrelated, and all of a sudden I feel like my whole body hits the floor, like
Yeah.
emotionally, and I'm like, okay, I gotta turn on some music and like feel everything so I can get this
Yeah.
out because apparently I have some pent up emotions.
Yes. Just I've shut them all off, and then they built up, and then they smushed through the wall.
Oh, I have to do your human design. Remind me when we're not on this to do it.
Yes, I've heard a lot about that from people, but I have not actually like gone through it.
I love it. It's functional. It's like completely wholeheartedly functional. It's not super woohooey. I mean, I'm all into the
Okay.
woohoo, so don't get me wrong. I'm
Oh, I
not.
know.
I am not discounting it by any means of the word.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's functional. So for me, it's the way your body is meant to run, the way you came to this planet, and the way your body was formed to run. And so, like I was talking to my husband the other night about something, and he started like overly thinking about something, and I told him, I said, stop. I said, you are a sacral being. You're not supposed to think. You're supposed to go with the first thing that pops into your head about
hmm
the situation and run with it, not sit there and have this long thought process because you're
Yeah.
not emotional. So you don't need to feel the emotion. So I bet you're sacral. Whatever it is, you're either intellectual or sacral by the way you make decisions. Because like I'm sacral. So like for me, when I have a hard time making a decision, what I've learned to do now is I ask myself the question. So do you want to go there? And then whatever my brain says, yes or no, that's the answer.
Yeah.
I just run with
That's
it.
kind of how I do decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a slow decision maker.
No, me
I'm a
neither.
pretty quick decision maker.
I'm
So,
either in or out, or I
so
forget. That's my problem in life. I get distracted because I'm also I
yes.
so I am a manifest generator, and what that
Okay.
means is I'm totally ADD. Okay, like ADHD and me are 100%. They tried to treat me when I was a kid, and my mom wouldn't let them. And
hmm
I've never wanted to be treated for it because I've learned to function with it. And
Well,
so,
if you can use coping skills
yeah,
to
I
deal
don't
with
need
it, then
medicine.
yeah,
I don't need it.
yeah,
But when I started learning human design, it was like mind blown because that's what a manifest generator is. We're not supposed to do the same thing all the time. We're supposed to have multiple interests. We're supposed to get distracted because we're supposed to gravitate towards where our interest goes. And
okay,
I'm like, that's amazing because I'm made to
that's
work that
awesome.
way, right?
There
Like,
you go.
that's me.
So you're
And so,
doing what
yeah.
you're supposed to.
Huh?
So you're doing what you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, what else is going on? Is there anything that is coming up that you want to talk about that like you want to promote or any new shoots? I know summer's ending, so I know you did all these cool Barbie shoots. Um,
I love
and so I know. Any others that you're going to be doing anytime soon that you want to?
Halloween. Halloween's coming.
Oh,
I was up in the middle of the night last night looking up what I'm going to do for that. I
Awesome.
plan all my shoots at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like that's
Hmm.
when magic happens for me. Um, I think that's part of that manifest generator thing. Like I wake up
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, okay, well let's go here now. Um, so of course Christmas. Boudoir Christmas. Hello, good
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
present.
White Christmas,
Um,
yes.
I'm probably gonna do a mix of branding and boudoir for Halloween because I think
Okay.
it's something different. I did branding and I did boudoir for the Barbie ones because it's
Yeah.
relevant. So when you think about branding your business, you need to do things that are relevantly going on. So if you're
Yeah.
posting like pictures of yourself that look like they got taken all summer in the middle of fall,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
it doesn't work because when you brand your business, I don't remember the exact statistics on it, but it's like people are 60% more receptive if the picture matches what you're talking about.
Yes.
So because they look at the picture first and then they read what you
Hmm.
said. The picture is what
Hmm.
elicits them to read what you said. So like
Yes.
I always tell people bloopers are always the best things ever because if you post a blooper and it's not a perfect picture of yourself, they're going to read what you said versus comment on it and say, "Oh my god, you look so pretty."
Yeah.
When people do that on my photos, I'm like, that's not helpful to me. Don't tell me I'm pretty. I don't want to be told
Yeah.
I'm pretty. Like,
Yeah.
maybe like three of you can tell me I'm pretty, but the rest of you need to be like, oh my God, the point you made is great.
That's what I want to hear.
Yes.
Interact in a relevant manner.
But the way you
Yeah.
get to do that is you don't necessarily post what they expect and what you look at and think is the perfect photo.
Yeah.
Because if you see it, how many times have you clicked on something to read what somebody was saying because the photo was so not what they would post?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So then you got to
Lots
know
of
what they
times.
said. So then you start reading it. Well, there's the connector. So,
Yeah.
but also relevancy too. So if you're talking about the color blue, I don't know, I'm saying something random. Make sure in that picture you're wearing blue because then the person's more likely to remember after reading what you said what you're talked about.
Yeah.
If you're talking about your business, make sure, or you're talking about something sad, it can be
Yeah.
emotion too. Look sad in the photo, don't look happy because then it doesn't
Yes.
match. Or be looking off.
Yes.
Like for introspective and sometimes emotional things, sometimes looking off is powerful. So
Hmm.
there's fun things. I don't know. I don't know what I
Yeah.
have going on because I kind of, like I said, I go with the flow of what I feel in the moment.
Yes.
So
And just keep
high
on
school
going.
seniors, that's coming up. Get the get
Senior photos.
Yeah,
Yes.
those people need to get on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
God.
Well, I'm going to be putting your website, of course, and whatever contact information you want in the notes for the podcast. So if there's anything, your website is lanzamanage.com.
.com. It's
Okay.
so it's a little under construction. It's there
Okay.
and it's
So,
fine, but it's
okay.
shifting and changing a little bit. We're adding a coaching business. My dog, do you
Oh,
hear
awesome.
this?
Yes.
Um, we're adding a coaching business. We have a bunch of things we're rolling out in the next few years, but coaching
Awesome.
is probably coming sooner.
Okay.
My dad's joined my business, so he's going to do a lot of business coaching, and
Okay.
he does a lot of speaking. He ran like huge nationwide companies for years,
That's
and
awesome.
so for him, we're just adding him onto our stuff.
Absolutely. How can people then, what's the best way for people to connect with you then if they want to know more or if they want to
Website,
schedule?
website, and
So
text me.
website is still the best way.
Yes, it is, and my number's on
Okay.
there. I don't have one of those forms you fill out, or if I do, don't fill it out. Um, I hate those things. I hate those things. I hate those
That's
with a passion.
hilarious.
Text me. I'm here.
Yeah.
Talk to me. I'd rather talk to people than read a form.
Yeah.
Um, well, to me, it's like we live in a world where everybody wants information now. So by the time they've filled the form for four people, somebody's gotten back to them and they've moved on. So that's why I got rid of the whole form. I'm like, I don't have time for
Yeah.
that. Just contact me
Yeah.
and we'll make it happen.
There you go.
But
There you go.
but yeah, text me, call me. Um, you know, you can contact me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe if you want. Well, I will have all of Tiffany's links in the notes for the session or for this episode on Spotify and Apple and YouTube and all the places. So yeah, it's been so great talking to you, and so great that you were here to talk about the amazing work you do helping people see themselves,
Mhm.
see themselves in um, it feels like a more realistic and more positive light than the shadow they cast themselves in.
Yes. Retrain
So
your
I
brain.
love that.
So when you look at yourself, you see positivity. You don't. I say so. You see the overall picture. You don't zero in on details because you don't do that for anyone else but yourself.
You're right. You're
Mhm.
right. We're so hard on ourselves. So I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I'm Desiree Parker. This is Empower Together. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.